that the humans who could tolerate more peanuts actually had higher levels of...
Inevitably, the big black hole that they will have missed out is going to come rearing its head in this episode like normal. And now, lo and behold, everyone's coming crawling back.
They noticed that once they added this certain bacteria, their anaphylaxis...
Sam and Kit Wallen-Russell, who really took skincare into their own hands.
Twin brothers from the UK who are taking the skincare industry by storm.
Sam is a nuclear astrophysicist, and Kit is a geophysicist and author.
A Notre Dame grad and his twin brother are looking to revolutionize skin health.
The two launched a 2-year intensive research study.
Two very smart guys who knew all about bad skin at a very early age.
That woman at the end was our mum, and really she's the face which launched 1,000 questions for us.
Another breaking news article, actually again published in the New Scientist. And the title of it is, "Your microbiome may determine your risk of severe allergic reactions." So inevitably in the article, they mainly focus on the gut. We will go into that later. But really, as an overview of the article, have you seen this, by the way?
I haven't seen this one, no.
It's talking about how mainly the microbiome in your gut and your mouth could actually make your allergic reactions better, or they could make it worse, depending on how healthy your mouth and your gut are. So,
really?
Yeah, which I know, yeah, again, it's very obvious to us, but the fact that it's based on a new study, and again, the article goes through and tells the story of the people who had this idea about it. But to us, that really isn't big news, is it, at all?
That's putting it mildly, yeah. I mean, the headline, obviously, the study is good. They did another study on it, but no real news in the slightest. But it's good because we can then talk about what they've missed out, because inevitably, the big old thing that they've missed out, the big black hole that they will have missed out, is going to come rearing its head in this episode like normal.
Exactly, yeah. So, because I know you haven't seen the article, and this was published on what date is it today? The 4th, so it's published yesterday, which is the 3rd of March 2026. And obviously this podcast will come out maybe a couple of weeks later. But basically, I'm just going to take you through the very simple bare bones of it, Sam, but you can probably predict which things will lead to a less severe allergic reaction and which things will lead to a more severe allergic reaction. So I'm going to let you do that first.
Well, no. Well, I'm interested whether they've actually got the right takeaways from it. So, I mean, I know what it will be. You can say healthier microbiome means less severe allergic reaction, but I want to know what they're defining as a healthier microbiome or a better microbiome, because we know what the true definition of a healthier microbiome is, but very, very few people actually get it right. But they're starting to turn around now because of our research, after talking for many years at conferences saying this is the definition of a healthy microbiome, and they go, no, it's not the definition of it. It's all about certain microbes and everything. And now, lo and behold, everyone's coming crawling back, talking about our definition, because it's to understand this, to be fair to them. Well, not to be fair to them, but you need a deep understanding in nonlinear physics, and we've done another video about that, but we won't go into that. So yes, so I'm interested to see what the healthy microbiome that they've defined is.
Yeah, we can come back to nonlinear physics later on. That's totally overcomplicating it at the moment. But I suggest anyone who wants to understand ecosystems and where we come from and all our world-leading research, go back to the things about nonlinear physics and how they underpin every ecosystem, because it's really interesting. Just give you a basic lowdown, Sam. They found that the types of microbe in your gut and mouth can influence how severe your allergic reaction is. If you're, say, for example, you're allergic to peanuts. So they said, and again, they did it on mice, which I don't fully approve of. They started off and they said mice with no or very few microbes they actually had much higher rates of peanut allergy proteins. And then also, this is where they talk about what contributes to these allergies. But they said mice with a diverse microbiome, so lots of different species, these mice had more of a bacterium called, and they call it Rothia R3, which has no bearing on the overall story. But anyway, this helped digest peanut proteins. So again, they're looking at individual microbes as opposed to the ecosystem as a whole. So they mention a diverse microbiome, but then they're focusing in on a certain type of microbe, which we will come back to later.
Shock horror. No.
Exactly. So what they did then, and this is where it gets a little bit complicated, but they added this certain bacteria to allergic mice. And then they noticed that once they added this certain bacteria, their anaphylaxis, which is just an allergic reaction symptoms, were much less severe. So they had smaller drops in body temperature and smaller immune response. That was it. So
Yeah, I mean,
exactly. So basically, again, they're honing in on one type of microbe. We'll go into it later. And then they observed in humans that the humans who could tolerate more peanuts actually had higher levels of this certain bacteria in their saliva than those with severe allergies. So again, they're linking this certain type of bacteria. So what are your thoughts so far?
well, I mean, it's exactly as every single article goes, and exactly as I predicted. There's no difference. I mean, it's good that the research, they're doing more research on the microbiome, but they've fallen into the same traps.
The basic underlying premise of it is that if you have a more healthy microbiome, whatever that is, it basically guards you against allergic reactions, which again is the thing which is so obvious. It doesn't really need to be researched, but the fact that they're actually doing this and it's mainstream news is a very good thing.
No, I mean, it's good that they're doing research. It's not that it's always the same. It's always about certain types of microbes. So zooming out for everyone else, it's just having a healthy microbiome means that you're going to, well, from their studies, be protected more against these reactions. So that's what the takeaway from this should be. Whereas the academics' takeaway is it's this specific microbe. But I'm very sure that if you add certain other microbes, then you're going to see similar results. So, and it's not just about adding certain microbes, it's about adding a biodiverse system of microbes.
Yeah, so again, to explain that word to the normal person who may not have watched our videos, basically what you want to do is you want to create an ecosystem which is lush and thriving, a bit like the green areas of the Amazon rainforest. And then once you have an ecosystem which as a whole is healthy, this wards off and this helps your whole body health. So it wards off things like diseases and allergies we're talking about. So again, the fact that having a healthier microbiome wards off allergies really isn't front page news like this says it is. But the idea that the microbiome and these microbes are part of the immune system which protects our body is one which loads of people really do struggle to latch onto. And it's so obvious. It's a vital part of our immune system. But many people don't really make the link, especially for the skin. And again, this is just talking about the mouth and the gut. And they hone in on one type of bacteria. And as you say, Sam, I think if they'd created a healthy ecosystem as a whole, instead of focusing on one type of bacteria, it could have had much greater effects as well.
Yeah, but again, that's hard to do because then they'll be like, well, which ones should we add? And so as academics, yeah, in some ways they do have to, or I can see why they sort of focus on a few different microbes. But I think the main glaring obvious thing, which again we would predict, as we say in everything, is just the skin is missing in this conversation. So when you're talking about the mouth and the gut, everyone's obsessed with the gut at the moment with all probiotics and and the MAHA movement in America, and talking about food and additives and eating healthy stuff and making your gut microbiome healthy. But the massive oversight, as normal, again, this isn't a shock horror to us, is the skin and where the skin plays into that role. And so most people don't realize that, as your research and our research is showing, if you damage your skin, the skin microbiome, then it can lead to all of these problems too. So new research is showing how damaging your skin can cause food allergies and everything like that. So it's all linked again. And again, they've omitted it, whereas everyone just focuses on these areas, and that they don't go outside it. But the skin's going to be the biggest one. Within 5 years, the skin's going to be the biggest focus for whole body health.
Exactly. Obviously, we're pioneering that wave, that new wave of research and understanding. I do agree about the skin, and that's something to talk about in the future. I think there's been multiple articles recently which talk about how the skin, if you have damaged skin, this actually means that you get peanut allergies as a baby. And we did a breaking news article on this before. So what they really need to do there is join the dots and say, well, okay, so if you have a healthy gut microbiome and mouth microbiome, this wards off allergies, or this helps your allergic reactions. What happens now if we look at the skin as well? Because that could be the missing piece of the puzzle in all of this.